Got 1 minute.
Well, it's less than a minute actually. A very good evening, everybody. This is Gulf Harbour Radio, ZMH 286, Patricia and David, and it is not a very nice evening here. In fact, it's been a miserable day. Lots and lots of wind, easterly. I've never seen surf like it. For those of you out there listening that are from this area, couldn't believe the amount of surf looking out over Ariwa and the little beach just by Manly facing the east, the Hauraki Gulf. About 2 metres surf at the, it's just amazing. It's been very strong easterly winds, east-northeast, and that's what we've got at the moment, except it's down a bit, 10 to 15 knots here, 1028.8 dropping, 100% cloud cover, 16 degrees, feels colder than that, but that's what it is. And the news is not good on the COVID front here either. In fact, boy, we could do with some cheerful news. 129 COVID cases today in New Zealand. 51 of them are in hospital. There were 9 in the Waikato, and 2 that weren't counted in that 129 are now found in Kaikoui. So the Northland area is getting a little bit nervous as to what will happen. So who knows what the case will be when you get up there. We are moving out of levels. I tell you what, I'd like to be able to explain this clearly, but it is very complicated. They're moving out of the levels 1, 2, 3, 4 and into what is called a traffic light system. And this is where district health boards have reached a 90% double vaccination, which I can tell you what, you wouldn't hold your breath for at the moment. Auckland, for example, has 77%. Manukau has 69, and Waitemata, that's where we are, 72. But anyway, when you reach double vaccination, then you can move into this new system. Maybe by Christmas, maybe not. Anyway, the red system, there will be vaccine certificates, but in the red system, there's no vaccine certificate, means you don't dine at a restaurant, attend a gathering of more than 10 people, or go to the gym. So Auckland will be in red when we get to 90%, but as I mentioned, don't hold your breath, and certainly don't hold your breath for Northland either. The South Island is getting pretty close. Then they'll go to orange, which will be most of the rest of the country, probably down south certainly, when the DHBs have hit their 90% level. There will be no limits, and vaccine certificates will be used. And then green means that there will be only limits if you don't have a vaccine certificate. So very, very complicated. A big decision is coming 29 November. So we're talking over a month away, but that means that they will make a decision on borders, including sea and air borders. So if you're hanging around out there wondering to know if you are going to get to New Zealand, the 29th of November is when you will likely find out. Certainly then the South Island will likely move to the new system. So that's about it for New Zealand. I'll tell you what, don't worry about getting your head around it. I am sure it will change. Just a bit of a news from the USA, a bit of bad news actually. At a movie set in New Mexico, Alec Baldwin shot and killed the director of photography using a prop gun. It was a blank gun, so no details yet. It was a Western movie called Rust, and another man was injured, so that's sort of a bit of a drama at the moment. But anyway, let's go to our boats. Castile and Calypso left Fiji on Wednesday, late Wednesday, from Savu. I think Castile, well, they're sort of juggling around. I'm sure one's towing the other. About 21 south and 178 at the moment. And Incentive from the Netherlands left from the other side, about just past, well, almost 20 south now, 176 east. There's a boat put in Varun, but we've lost them on the AIS once they got away from Fiji. So the AIS shows them 2 days ago, but they're in there somewhere. Pura Vida, of course, is still trucking over from the east, now at 29 south, 179 west. I wonder if they'll have a big feast when they cross the old date line. Currently 230 true, of course, and 4.9. Perigee, well, they've got a bit of decision making to do. They're down at 30, 36 and 17722 west. They've got some weather ahead, so hopefully they've got Bob's email and they'll have to decide what to do. There's two boats in the Q dock at the moment. Heritage, that was the boat that lost its steering. Heritage, it got a tow in, and a boat called Ewers Gaviatha. Don't really know what's behind that. It's something that I don't know about. And of course we've got Insatiable out there. We'll try and get you later on, Josh. So that's about it from the news here. Enjoy where you are, because it's just not been a great weather day here, news-wise or weather-wise. So I'll put it to David. Maybe he'll have some cheering news for you all.
Holy mackerel. I think I better have another drink after listening to that. Well, good afternoon from the Gulf Harbour Radio weather desk. And as you've heard, we have a few yachts that are definitely underway to New Zealand, at least one of them from Bora Bora. They're making some pretty good time. And actually, their strategy is working out quite well. So we'll keep our fingers crossed that it continues for them. Another yacht was a Josh from Vanuatu, yep. Heading more or less on Rumline to New Zealand. And the rest of you are coming in from Fiji. Most of you are getting ribs of some sort. Some of you are using rollers, and the others are just doing it the old way. Set a course and off we go. The major player for these yachts is a very strong high pressure system, actually south of Raoul. Raoul, by the way, is in the Kermadex, which is north of New Zealand. Anyway, that high is over 1032 millibars, so it's a very strong high, and it's pushing up some very strong winds up to the islands. Now this high ridges north, and the axis being about 175 west. The other player is a subtropical depression, and the center of that one is roughly 30 south and 165 east. That's pretty close to Norfolk Island. Now the cyclonic isobars conflict with the anticyclonic isobars from our high that we talked about, creating a squash zone. And that squash zone is between 170 east and the dateline. As an example, winds between, well, we'll say 175 east and 178 east, we're looking at northeast winds 30 to 35 knots. So they're creating seas that are 4 meters and higher, not very pleasant for sure. And as you'd expect, a trough is created due to the convergence of these two opposing wind flows. This trough runs from 25 south, 172 east, goes northward, and in a bit of an arc, which passes just to the west of Fiji and continues arcing to Wallis. So if you can picture that. So any yacht between 170 west and the dateline and 28 to 30 south may consider heaving to. The area of strong winds will be from 30 south to New Zealand. By holding off, in other words, not continuing south, may be a good idea. Now, there have been suggestions, which are good ones, to head to the west, and that is a good idea as well. So it's best to get your judgment going on that. By Sunday, the strong wind area may encompass 30 south to New Zealand, moving east. So roughly 175 east to the date line. So sailing west of 175 east, what we talked about, the possibility of doing, and as what was suggested, uh, you'll encounter southerly quadrant winds. So to the east of that line, northeast, to the west of it, southerly quadrant. But the southerlies are going to be half the velocity of the eastern side of that line, and that line again is about 175 east. So if that sounds all confusing, I'll just say it again. Picture a line, 175 east. On the east side of that line, you can have gale force winds. On the west side of the line, half that, but southerly direction. So yachts up around 22 south will have east to northeast winds on the rum line right through Sunday, heading toward New Zealand. Those yachts that are in Fiji should be aware that Fiji Met has issued a strong wind warning for all Fiji waters except fresh to strong easterlies. You can expect fresh to strong easterlies over the group, 20 to 25 knots, and along with this, certainly rough seas. And Fiji Met expects easterlies 15 to 20 knots by Sunday. And looking forward a little bit, that's about the same into Monday as well. So that's the situation. Those of you that are at 30 south and between 30 south and New Zealand have got some thinking to do. Those of you that have not gotten down to 30 south need to decide how fast you want to go. The faster you go, the quicker you'll be in the high wind zone. But if you keep the speed down, that high wind zone will be moving off to the east, and your voyage should be pretty good. The wind direction looks fairly decent right through the weekend and into the first part of next week for those yachts, again, that are up around 20 south, in other words, closer to Fiji. So good luck with the decision making, and have a safe trip. And with that, I'll pass it over to the Chief.
Oh, it sounds like a bit of weather to keep everything interested and people on their toes. Let's see if I can find some boats. Insatiable, Gulf Harbour Radio. You're a bit quick for me, Josh. Could you start again? I've got the 172 east. What was the latitude? 25 degrees and 172. Oh, yep, done a couple of degrees there. And certainly, well, you're doing reasonably well. What are your conditions, over? Yeah, pause because I'm just trying to just get you in a little bit clearer here. I'm going to turn something off. Just stand by one, get some of the background noise down. Okay, let's try that again. Could you give me your wind speed and direction, course and speed from the boat? Oh, you're doing pretty well then. Boy, you certainly had some pretty strong winds to deal with, 25 knots there. And on a course of 155 with about 5.5 knots. I'm just going to pass the microphone to David so he can give you a bit of a view of the weekend.
Yeah, Josh, looking at Saturday, just after lunch, early afternoon, that type of thing, about 26 south and 171 east. It looks like southerly quadrant winds, southeast, about 10 knots. So it should relax for you in terms of the winds. The high to your west is about a 10, 19, 10, 20 high. So the isobar spread at that point, at 26 south, is pretty far apart. So that's good news in terms of the lack of wind that will accompany that. So you should be in pretty good shape. That's looking at Saturday. And then looking at Sunday, as you continue to head a little bit further south, of course, you're still going to have southerlies. The high will still be to your west, about 1019, again 1020, like that. And I would say, hang on here, yeah, we're looking at about 15 knots by Sunday. So that's roughly 28 south, maybe 29 south, and 171 east. The high wind area is off to your east, which is good news. So if you carry on in that direction that you've got, I'm just taking a look at what Monday would look like as you carry on. And yeah, unfortunately, there's still going to be southerly winds, but the high wind area is off to your east. So you'll be in pretty happy shape with regard to that. I'll jump over to Wednesday. You'll be getting fairly close to New Zealand at that point in time. And then we get a wind shift because we have another high that's about 1031 millibar east of New Zealand. You're going to be on the western side of this high. So that means your winds are going to be quite favorable. I would say northeast winds. They'll be about 15 knots. So that's Wednesday. If you come up with an ETA, I could narrow this down better. I'm not sure if you have one. I'll pause to see if you do have one. Over.
He's pretty slow. Autopilot's busted, so it's slowing up. We'll check in again on Monday then. Yeah, boy, you'll be getting a bit tired with that autopilot out of action. Well, we'll check in again with you on Monday and see where you are. And, well, hopefully the winds will be lighter then and you might be able to get a bit more sleep. But, yeah, I think it will, well, certainly conditions will be a bit better. So we'll check in with you again on Monday, Josh. Over. Okay, apart from the autopilot, is all okay otherwise?
Yeah, everything else is fine. We're still fighting. That's the main thing. So, yeah, I need sleep anyway,
Yeah, all right. Okay, well, we'll clear with Insatiable on the way down from Port Vila. Is there anybody else on frequency that wants to say hello? I was hoping that Castile might be saying hello there, but nothing else heard. Anybody else wanting to say hello? Yeah, good evening to you. How's everything going? Castile, Gulf Harbour Radio.
Gulf Harbour Radio, this is Castile. Good talking to you. Everything's going really well. Like being resting and working off.
Did you say 20 knots at the moment, Paul?
Yes, currently 20 knots from the east, going to be ready.
Yeah, well, you won't be complaining about that, will you? I tell you what, you wouldn't be wanting to be down here with the easterly we've had all down the coasts today. It's been absolutely grim. Surf everywhere, but we'll try and put decent conditions on for when you arrive. But
Tomorrow's still about 20 knots.
David just said tomorrow will be still about 20 knots, so good sailing conditions for Castile. Over. Yeah, well, just prepare yourself for anything when you arrive. Other than the weather, I'm not talking about the weather. I'm talking about what on earth is going on. But yep, I guess you'll have had such a lovely time in Fiji. You'll put up with anything when you arrive. So it sounds all good on board, and I hope Amanda's doing well too. Over.
Yes, all well aboard, and we're just heading down slowly and going to wait to see when we're closer to see if we can make the 12 days or NYQ.
Yeah, roger that. So yes, it's well, there's no point in rushing, is there? So take your time and make it comfortable. That's all good, unless there's something grim, but we'll tell you about that. All right, we'll clear with Castile, and you've certainly got Calypso within hailing distance on the VHF, so that's always good to have company on a trip. Is there anybody else wanting to make contact? Please call now. No, nothing heard. I hope you all have a better weekend weather-wise than what we're going to have here. It's pretty grim out there at the moment, and it won't improve by the sound of it. So we'll be back on Monday. Hopefully, I don't even know what Monday's like. Monday is a holiday here, of course. It is Labour Day weekend, so it is a holiday. But for those boats coming in, you don't have to worry about holidays because customs works anytime you arrive. By that stage, they will certainly have got rid of Heritage and the other boat from the queue dock and will be ready for you. And I know some people are a little bit nervous if they haven't been into Opua with the current. If there are boats on the dock, don't take any notice of which direction they are because they could have come in with different tidal conditions to what you will be experiencing when you come in. But do check the tides if you've got a tide program. Russell would be probably the best one to look at. I don't think there's one that says Opua unless you've got something special. So just check the tides and work accordingly, and all will be well. And don't forget, if there's a real jam-up, which there won't be, but this is for people that might be coming in the future, if there's a real jam-up on the queue dock, you can go both sides. There's nothing that says that you have to be on the inside, the marina side. You can be on the other side. And, if it gets real chock-a-block, then, of course, you could anchor. So no problems there, just whatever is safest. Don't forget, you will be real tired by the time you get there, probably. And if you're like us, you always come in the middle of the night. So there you have it. Have a very good weekend, everybody, and we will be back again on Monday. Cheers all.
Boy, it's bad out there now. That wind is really hunting.